Good morning, good evening, wherever you are across the nation or around the world. I am your hostess with the mostest, Kelly Robertson, aka Earth Song Lovecraft, and this is a Beacon News 777 production for Deja Brew, waking you up to truth. Today, we're going to talk about aliens and UFOs. And I'm going to show you some really cool clips of very good UFO footage. Um, Actually, a lot of it came from just this month, around the eclipse, right before the eclipse, during the eclipse, right after the eclipse. But first, I want to look at a little bit of this end times production movie called Hidden History. And there's a reason for me wanting to delve into this with you a little further because I actually have personal firsthand experience and knowledge of several of these things that he's talking about. And we're not going to look at it. The whole movie is an hour and a half long. We're not going to look at the whole movie. We're going to look at about 20 minutes of it. We'll unpack the rest of it at another date. I'll leave the link in the description box so that you're welcome to go and watch the full movie yourself if that's what you choose to do. But I want to look at a little bit of this and share this with you so that we can talk a little further about understanding how very real and present in our life what we call aliens and UFOs truly are, and how they've been present in our life for eons, for probably as long as humans have existed. So let's take a look.
When most people think about UFOs or UFO sightings, they think
flight or manned flight of any kind was possible, and in each about the worldview of those who saw them. Alexander the Great and his army, for instance,
Yeah, I apologize for that lag. We're just going to back that up and see if this will play better this time so that you can hear that better because they're speaking of Alexander the Great.
And times, kid.
when most people think about UFOs or UFO sightings, they think about it in terms of other generations witnessing strange lights in the sky.
strange sights appeared in the skies, and in each century, these visions took on identities that tell much about the worldview. Alexander the Great and his army, for instance, were harassed by a pair of flying objects in 329 BC.
In 329, you guys,
Men stood their ground and tried to hit the discs with their arrows and with stones from their slings.
they tried to hit the craft with their arrows and their stones. 329 AD, and they have accounts of seeing UFOs in the sky. This is not a new phenomenon. This is a reoccurring thing throughout our history.
1892, just 4 hours before saw a bright glowing object come out of the sky, go into the water, and travel slowly through the water engraved onto a French token minted in the 1860s is a disc-shaped flying object.
Now, I want you to pay attention to this because there's a reason that this history has been hidden from us.
British astronomer Edmund Halley of comet fame also saw a series of unexplained aerial objects in March of 1760. One of them lit up the sky for more than 2 hours. There were sightings in 1897 of a lighter than air, which it directed at the ground. In 1917, what may have been the largest crowd ever to witness a UFO occurred in Fatima, Portugal. 50,000 people watched in amazement as a huge silver disc began spinning like a windmill and dancing about in the sky. After plunging toward the Earth, it climbed back into the sky and disappeared into the sun. One night during the summer of 1948, Clyde W. Tombaugh, the astronomer, home at Las Cruces, New Mexico. He and several witnesses, including other members of his family, watched on UFOs and has written numerous books and articles on the subject. A Thousands of books have been written on the subject of demonology, which is the ancient and scholarly study of monsters and are identical to the UFO phenomenon. Victims of demonic possession suffer from the Dr. Jacques
Now,
Vallée has addressed
again, I want to remind you to keep this in mind as we go a little bit further into this, because a lot of poltergeist or demon activity and UFOs, aliens, could very well be the same thing. They both come through portals, guys. They both come through a portal. Keep that in mind.
the United Nations on UFOs and was the model for He is the author of 8 books on UFOs and has been widely recognized as the premier investigating scientist in the realm. In his book, Messengers of Deception, Vallée says, an impressive parallel can be made and in his book, Confrontations, he writes, the medical examinations to which abductees are said to be subjected, often accompanied by sadistic sexual manipulation, is reminiscent of the medieval tales of encounters. He also
Well,
makes a
now
statement.
on that, I will slightly disagree, and I have great respect for Jacques Vallée and all of his work. God rest his soul. But I don't completely agree with that because the medical examinations that are done by aliens are not the same type of thing that people are experiencing with demonic entities who are doing sadistic sexual things. That's not the same thing at all. It might be similar, but it is not the same. So just because there's echoes of similarities does not make that one and the same. And it's important to use discernment if we're ever going to get to the truth about what's really going on in our world and with us.
I believe that when we speak of UFO sightings as instant at the phenomenon on the wrong level, we are not dealing with successive waves of visitations from space. We are dealing And he states, UFOs are the means through which man's concepts are being rearranged. Wide enterprise of subliminal seduction.
I found this old book that was published in 1970 that has some. A lot of the stories I'm about to read to you have been lost to history. Until now, that is. Earth 10 lights were seen at times, gyrating through the sky in astounding fashion, going up and down rapidly.
1893.
1887. If a ball of fire falls into the sea, is up out of the sea. Such was witnessed by the bug-eyed crew aboard the British steamer Siberian on November 50 feet over the water, darted close to the ship, then sped away out of sight. Ships were a prime source of UFO sightings in the 19th century. One of the most repeated phenomenon reported by 24 ships or more was typified by the following account. May 15, 1879. Commander Pringle of the HMS Vulture of the Persian Gulf put in his log that two incredible objects were pacing his ship, both submerged but glowing brightly. On looking towards the east, he wrote, the appearance was that of a revolving wheel, whose spokes were illuminated, and, looking to the west, a similar wheel appeared to be revolving in the opposite direction. 1845. Substantiating the above, the brig Victoria, on June 18th in the Mediterranean, came upon three luminous bodies that rose silently and mysteriously out of the sea, remaining within sight for some 10 minutes in the air in slow maneuvers. 1883. An inexplicable phenomenon witnessed by thousands of people on both the Canadian and American sides, as a UFO shaped like a square table hovered above Niagara Falls for 1 hour. May 15th.
Now, he misspoke there. It was actually 1833. But they describe seeing something that was shaped like a square table. I don't know if that means it had four legs that came down from the square, but we have been recently again seeing those squared UFOs that everyone calls the cube, right? And keep in mind that certain religions worship a very large cube.
1811. The people of Geneva, Switzerland, saw an aerial show never before seen. It was an odd UFO, one to a horseshoe and to a crescent. August 10th, 1809. John Stavely of London perhaps witnessed the first authentic appearance of a mothership and its attendant saucers. Although he hardly recognized it as such, I saw many meteors coming around the edge of a black cloud, from which lightning flashed. They were like dazzling specks of light dancing and traipsing through the clouds. November 17th, 1882.
Now, I just want to back that up for just a second because I want you to take note that this says that since meteors hardly dance around, they must have been small saucers associated with a huge cigar-shaped mothership, which are often in today's sightings hidden within the clouds of their own making. Because they do have that technology, and many people these days understand that they have some type of technology to where they can cloak within the clouds, but some people are still noticing them even though they're behind those clouds, right? They're not hiding very well. And probably that is on purpose. I wouldn't say that it's a lack of technology per se.
09. John Stavely of London perhaps witnessed the first authentic appearance of a mothership and its attendant. Although he hardly recognized it as such, as several astronomers reported the same thing, strange objects moving in straight lines, evenly spaced, that crossed the face of the moon slowly and made turns in military precision. August 12th, 1883. This is one of the most famous and baffling of all the astronomical UFOs observed. Professor Jose Bonilla, director of the Astronomical Observatory at Zacatecas, Mexico, was recording sunspots when suddenly a small luminous body began crossing the disk of the sun. No sooner had he gotten over his first surprise than another such body appeared, then another, and the solar disk. These UFO sightings
283, right? 283. And this is the director of an observatory back in the day. Like, he knows what he's looking at. He understands that this is not some kind of space debris or stars or planets moving in front of the sun. He understands that these are intelligently controlled craft. And there's a reason that I'm showing you all of this. We'll get into the fun sightings here in just a few more minutes. But all of this ties in together. The UFOs, the aliens, the hidden history, religion, politics, all of it is tied together in one nice little neat box that we never suspected before until now.
In 1551 AD, red rods were seen above Lisbon in Portugal, floating and
Red
flying through the
rods.
sky. In England, a burning revolving wheel was seen also around a barrel of flame. 1254 AD, in the sky appeared a kind of large ship, elegantly shaped and well equipped, and of marvelous color.
It was red and brown and scarlet and black.
1168 AD, a globe of fire was seen moving to and fro in the air. Sky, and glistening balls sailed over Hungary. 1577 AD, an
He said 1577, but it's 577. An object like a lance passes across the sky, all the way back to 12 AD. In an old Irish manuscript, there's a tale, very likely based on truth, in Cloera, Ireland, the ancient Ire. An anchor suddenly dropped from the sky and hooked itself into a church steeple. What's that sound like to you? A zephyr? Do you remember us having zephyrs that would tie off to building steeples? The townspeople then saw a ship in the sky with men aboard. One man climbed down the cable as if to free the anchor, and his motion was like that of a man.
the sky. 98 AD, in Italy, another burning torch was observed, probably quite like the flaming red ball. Irish manuscripts. There's one tale very likely based on truth. Ancient Erie, Ireland, and a church steeple. The townspeople then saw a ship in the sky with men aboard. One man climbed down like that of a man swimming in water. Some of the watching men wanted to dash up to the steeple and capture the skyman, but the bishop forbade them. The strange being returned to his craft without finishing his job, but they cut the cable and the vessel vanished into the sky.
Now, did you
Now,
notice that at the end of that,
there are
it said that
thousands
back
more.
in the day, they did not have a reason to write things that were in fiction. They only wrote down things that were accurate accounts of events that took place. It wasn't until much later in time that we came up with this idea that we should write fake stuff.
More UFO reports that date back to the beginning of time. But what about American? In 1851, rock was being blasted apart in a New England community. Among the
Two
shattered
parts.
stone, when placed together, they formed a bell-shaped chalice about 4.5 inches high and 6.5 inches wide. designs all over inlaid in silver. It came from 15 feet down in solid rock. Reported in 18 is a nail of obvious manufacture that was found in a stone block from the Kind Goody quarry in North Britain. The nail was half embedded in stone, half in till, which is the crumbly matter churned up by the glacial ages. If the nail originally rested in again in a quarry in 1844 near Tweed, England, workmen discovered gold thread. In 1851, another cut iron nail, 6 penny size and only slightly corroded, fell out when a man dropped a piece of auriferous quartz. In 1833, they found a coin 30 feet deep in the ground, and it was about the size of a shilling. Despite the long burial, the markings were distinct, representing a warrior or a hunter of Roman appearance. But no Roman coins of that type were ever struck. In 1891, Mrs. Culp of Morrisonville, Illinois, was shoveling coal into her kitchen stove when a large lump broke in two. Exposed to her astonished view was an intricate gold chain, as finely worked as anything jewelers can make today. In Salzburg, Austria, and now a museum, a block of coal from the Miocene strata yielded a perfectly machined cube of steel with slightly convex but symmetrical top and bottom side, with a cut groove running precisely all around its middle. Examined by dozens of scientists, technicians, and steel experts, all of them declared it could not be possibly natural and was positively artificial. An artifact made by the hands of human or otherwise.
Clearly, we're not being told the truth about our history. Clearly, humans themselves have been here much longer than we presumed as an intelligent species, not as a cave dwelling, Neanderthal thumping barbaric race, but intelligent. And these humans have been wiped out time and time again through cataclysms and different things, but we always rise again. And these beings that are seem to be ever present in our history, told or untold.
But apparently, just recovered are off-world vehicles not made on this Earth. That's a direct quote.
The universal story agrees with the record of every major culture of the ancient world in which the astonishing gods that descended from heaven and or came through spiral vortices to materialize in bodies. And before that to Egypt, Persia, Assyria, Babylonia, Sumer, as watchers, and in the book of Genesis as giving birth to part celestial, part.
Now, I want to pause just for a moment to show you a few things about how interestingly it is that around the world, not just in Egyptian mythos, do we have animal deities, but also in Greek. And look how similar they are, please. So Zeus clearly was a human, right? Looked like a human, but there were also serpent people, horse people, boar people, lion people, right? This would be the people from Lyra. Artemis was a hybrid. Acanthus, the dog people. Hello, dog man, werewolf. Where do you think they came from? The owl people, the eagle people, the tortoise people, the donkey people, the Pegasus people. Now look, here's more. In India, we have the Durga, the tiger, the Nagas, the elephant, the lion, Pratyagara, Hierogriva. I don't know how you say these for sure. Sorry if I'm butchering that. The dog, the monkey, the bull. What's this one say? Oh, oh, what's it? The mother of all dogs. Okay, that's another dog. Here's the Devi snake, probably very similar to the Naga. Here's cattle. So again, the bull. Narasimha, Nandi the bull, Hanuman. What was Hanuman? Divine Vanara, devoted companion of the deity Rama. Does it give a description? The monkey god. Okay, that's the monkey god. Matsya. What was Matsya? Also a monkey type human. We have the owl again. We have Hamsa, which is a bird, right? More bird people. You've heard of the lost language of the birds, I'm sure. This is a dog again. Nandi was a dog. Here's another snake. Kurma. Another monkey human. And Ganesha. What was Ganesha? Elephant-headed deity. So you see, there are multiple cultures around the world, present day, that still believe that we had hybrid human-looking deities, animal human hybrids.
This happened when men began to increase on earth and daughters were born to them, when the sons of God saw the women's beauty, their unusual offspring. I believe a record of this is recorded in Genesis 6:4, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, men of renown. This is Dr. Thomas Horn, and you are watching End Times Productions.
What's beneath to rule the earth?
During research for our best-selling book, On the Path of Opportunity, really, to sit down with and to film Dr. Don Mose Jr., a third-generation medicine man who I met with for a large part of a day, and he told me the oldest legends of the Anasazi had been told by his ancestors, which included stories of the Anasazi turning to sorcery, to sacrifice, cannibalism, after they had lost their way and were driven insane. Above his head, of all things. Images of that being are, by the way, included in believe that they likely attest to the fallen reptile or reptiles of biblical fame, which also misled humanity.
Could this be where we get that description of the devil from? Let's think about that for a minute. So then there's not just one, there's multiple. And they are right here on our planet right now. Let's keep watching. I'm going to show you some great video clips. Stick with me. We've got about 5 more minutes of this, and then I'm going to show you some really great video clips that proves what I'm telling you.
As I said in the traditional Hogan at one of the Navajo schools, again drawing in the sand on the floor and reciting the first part of the story and repeated to him by his father and grandfather, who had also been told by their ancestors
Oh, yeah, right.
had undoubtedly repeated hundreds of times before at the Navajo school. Now, different to our camera and our recording plans, and in fact, he let us proceed nevertheless. But I sat there and listened respectfully as he
Bella.
only ever been allowed a few times in history before, and that is the legendary Great Flood of a reptilian deceiver, all from the voice of the nation's top men. Call Old Testament history, paralleled in their did Dr. Mose substantiate the age-old and globally the impact that they have had on biblical and global history. Days of creation, the arrival of the Nephilim, by the repopulating of people around the world, and then a second incursion of the giants. But he would go off script. Actually, between history.
Now, let me just show you here something else that I have found. Did our ancestors know how to open a portal to another dimension? See, our ancestors, our indigenous, our tribes, they knew and likely still do know, as I know, and many scientists know now, particularly astrophysicists, that we can open portals, that there are portals right here on this planet that are energetic, magnetic hotspots, such as Skinwalker Ranch, for opening portals. If we can open them, we can also close them. If we can bring things in, we can also usher them out. This is my purpose of understanding this and helping you to understand this further. Because this quote unquote evil that may or may not be here, we know the truth, can be led out the same door it came in, or another door that's an exit point. Perhaps our ancestors weren't always as bold and brave to try to do such an act. I, for one, am. We have these interdimensional portals that can be closed. And we do have the power and the domain to banish or not give permission for things that do not belong here to reside here. There are many, many magnetic anomalies across the globe. These are maps in North America alone that show magnetic anomalies. Here are the magnetic anomalies for the South Atlantic. and South America. Here, we have magnetic anomalies that are shown in the continent of Africa. The entire globe is riddled with these magnetic anomalies, entry points for them to come. But if you know thyself, as Jesus told you to know, then you would know that you have dominion and you have the last word on whether or not they should be here, can be here. And this is why the history has been hidden from us, because the powers that be understand that we truly are the ones that are creating and allowing all of this to happen. And if we become aware of that, then we too can be the ones who change the world as we know it into what we know that it should be for the better. Dragons for China, the Naga for India, the Native Americans of North America and Canada all have stories that they tell of this race of beings, this lizardy serpent type being, some with wings, some without. And we're going to get into this mind control thing a little bit deeper before we're done here. Not from this particular movie, but from the other clips that I'm going to show you. So bear with me. We're almost done with this. And I want to pause right there just for a moment to reiterate what he's saying to you. He's telling you about how there were good people, maybe hybrid, who were actually assisting in eradicating these bloodthirsty, human flesh eating, hungry monsters, for lack of a better word, from our planet. And then I will offer you modern day terms such as starseeds, volunteers, who have come here for this time that we're in now, this cyclical event that is getting ready to unfold once again, just like in the days of Noah, just like in the days of Atlantis. These things are upon us very soon. And we have these people that are here who understand how to use their abilities, their God given abilities, to end and eradicate all of the evil that is taking place. And we are here to help teach you, empower you, that you too can do the same great works and more.
Missionary. The giants and the great flood, he said we smiled and let them know that we already knew these stories, that they had been. After a week on the road, having covered hundreds, there are multiple ruins, including hogans, temples, kivas, photographing petroglyphs. We were finally on our way to the last site that we were going. Told us not to miss. We already collected enough pictogram and logogram images from ancient rock engraving and to calculate for our purposes a recurring theme, which definitely seemed to match the Middle Eastern and biblical stories of portals, reptilians, fallen angels, giants, and the havoc that those. But this final petroglyph that was important, our guide had said, and one that we decided to make one final excursion, this time into Utah, 50 miles north of Moab, where one of the largest one county. This storyboard that we would visit there was etched in sandstone. And it records practically every element contained in the Bible spiral vortices and those who come through them, including human animal chimera of much smaller, five-fingered and five-toed to us with its halo was drawn there. Just a couple. This location is also easier to get to. And is somewhat decipherable as to which image. Certainly the most mysterious with their alien-looking creatures and writing on this Great Wall continued from 1,000 years before. the same time that the Anasazi suddenly disappeared. The Anasazi to a first and second incursion of giants, and the mountainous gateways that if you take only the images that the Anasazi left behind and compare them to similar and elsewhere around the world where the stories and meanings of the images have been made clear, and keeping in mind at approximately the same time when the Torah, that is Genesis through Deuteronomy, the first 5 books of the Bible, was written around BC 1300, this would have been the same time these Bible lands were drawing giant, 6-toed footprints on a slab wall in Utah and facing an alien enemy, as the name Anasazi implies. When the writings in the Torah are compared with other ancient Genesis Apocryphon, Philo, Josephus, Jasher, accounts of the American Indian tribes on this side of the world, it's clear that this is more than a legend. Giants suddenly infesting the entire incursion. This story was written down globally from Hebrew scrolls, oldest recorded testament of part human, part angelic creatures who were in turn the apocryphal book of Enoch calls fallen watchers. In the beginning, the great creator made everything. Then powerful reptilians came down from heaven through portals. Found in the petroglyphs. They came to deceive the world, as Dr. Don Mose told us, and the world the word Anasazi, which can literally be translated according to the experts that we discussed this represented in ancient spiral symbolism besides giant 6-toed footprints and horned humanoid figures opened at this time, and alien gods or monsters and giants came through them. Some of these giants had the Old Testament. Then the Creator destroyed the monsters and giants in a great flood.
And 2 rows of teeth.
To cannibalism and human sacrifice.
Old. At least one of them is old. I don't know if it was the one I worked on, but I remember something to do with an archaeological dig. That means it.
Than you might think. What you're about to hear is the very best explanation I've ever heard. It's from my interview with Timothy Alberino.
What we have in the Genesis 6 affair are extraterrestrial, and they're likely descending to the earth on the summit of Mount Hermon. Advanced aerospace vehicles.
And this is where we need to understand, delineate, and use true discernment. Because in our mind's eye, we have this image of fallen angels that look like humans, but larger, with wings. Beautiful depictions, right? But that is not what these fallen ones look like at all. Yeah, they may have wings, but they don't look like us without mind control.
In other words, are showing up in what we would call UFOs. There's this misconception that angels have wings, and that when they picture these angelic wings and they're landing like storks or something like that, which is complete nonsense. The Watchers showed up in advanced aerospace vehicles, and they had high technology with them. A technology that's probably many centuries more advanced. The Watchers. What we are referring to is an angelic race of beings. Referencing the angels, those beings. And when we think about quote unquote spiritual beings, ethereal beings with wings who just transport or flap their wings and, you know, are these again these very ethereal creatures. Rather, we should think about angels, and this is a biblical perspective. This is not a sci-fi perspective. This is a terrestrial beings. They are extraterrestrial. From the earth, a provenance other than the earth, an origin the case within the biblical narrative, because the angels pre-existed the earth. The earth, they're not earthborn. We are earthborn, and the Nephilim are also earthborn. That's part of what the term means. Earthborn. That's part of what the term in Greek for giant means. Earthborn. So,
and I am by no means trying to suggest that just because they're not earthborn that they are evil, because not all beings that come from another realm, another dimension, another space are evil. Again, we need to use discernment. We need to not lump all the giants into one category, just like we don't need to lump all of the aliens into one category. We can't lump all humans into one category. There are various types of humans. Some are good, some are bad, some are neutral, like Sweden, right? So let's keep that in mind too. But there is a way to know.
Angels are not earthborn. Their provenance is not planet Earth. They elsewhere in the universe. They are therefore, by definition, extraterrestrial. Terrestrial meaning Earth. They are extraterrestrial. They're from elsewhere in the cosmos. They're also alien. They're not human. So they also fit the description
one and the same.
Of alien. These are not anti-biblical terms. These are accurate terms that correctly define these
Agreed.
Alien to the human species. And they are in possession of advanced technology, including advanced aerospace vehicles, i.e. UFOs, what we call UFOs. So they have knowledge, they have more knowledge of than we do. That means they have more knowledge pertaining to chemistry, pertaining to physics, pertaining to mathematics, pertaining to astronomy, much more knowledge than we do. And they have derived much more advanced technological implements than we have. Number one, this race, the elder race, has been around a lot longer than us. Mankind was created to be a little lower than the heavenly beings and the angels. So cognitively and physically, our physiology is lesser than theirs. Their physiology is greater than ours. In other words, superior to us. Without their technology, just biologically speaking, they are superior to us. They are a superior race. But then when you throw in their knowledge and their technology, they are also far more technologically advanced than we are. Angels are not traversing the heavens in horse-drawn chariots. Horses don't fly. Being pulled by reindeer. Angels are navigating the heavens in advance.
And what he's referring to as angels are aliens is not a definitive good or bad, positive, negative, nefarious, or malevolent, benevolent, right?
In saucers and the other UFOs. But they're not the only ones. So my before the flood is a little bit different than a lot of other people's perspective. I don't imagine degenerate and committing all kinds of offenses against the story is much more intricate than that, and quite frankly, much more interesting. What we have is a scenario in which the watch is walking among men, and their hybrid offsprings happen to be giants. And as I said, because they were human hybrid offspring, because they had legal authority through the birthright of Adam. They had legal authority to govern the earth, and difficult for them to overthrow every human potentate. It was the perfect plan, if you think about it, from the Watchers. Hybrid offspring can take dominion of the earth. Well, that wouldn't be very difficult if they were all giants, a league of giants, who would have been looked at as.
And again, he continues to emphasize their superiority over us. And I will continue to emphasize you remembering that just because we're not of the same stature does not mean that they are superior to us. Because if you know thyself truly, you are far superior to these draconians or Lizzie people or whatever you want to call them, the Naga, etc. Because they might be tricksters, but we are creators. Now, a few more minutes of this, and then we're going to go to the video clips of the UFOs.
Demigods and worshipped as gods walking among men. And this was the scenario unfolding in the earth before the flood. And so you had manifest, you had their hybrid offspring who were giants. They took dominion of the earth. To Greek mythology and to the mythologies of many ancient civilizations, the gods, the Greeks say that the gods apportioned among themselves the earth. They apportioned the earth among themselves. They divided it up, and they each became the rulers of their own kingdoms. And of course, I believe that the Greek mythology regarding the gods is a reference to the history regarding the Watchers, the true history of the Watchers and their hybrid sons. And so and each of them had their own kingdom, and their kingdoms were governed by their sons. Again, who were human enough to legally govern the earth. They usurped the dominion of mankind, and mankind was oppressed.
And this is where the catch-22 comes in, and we flip the script and we take back this earth because of the hybrid humans that do have dominion here. And there are many of us. Let's face it, the majority of the world right now are a bunch of Heinz 57s, if you will. We are all mixed and mingled, still human, but have other attributes in us as well, scientifically proven, spliced in to the DNA. And now it is time for you to understand who you are so that you can understand how we can defeat the dark. without weapons.
Science, and according to the Book of Enoch, men were required to feed the. I don't know how many giants there were, but they were forcing the human inhabitants of the earth to feed them, to sustain them, and probably were bringing sacrifices and worshiping their fathers, the Watchers, and prostrating the sons who were the kings over these empires, these giants. Satisfy the appetites of the giants began to devour. Not only was mankind slaving to provide food and sustenance for the giants, they then became the food. So we're requiring of mankind human sacrifices that were to be brought to city would have produced human beings who would be brought to be consumed, to be devoured by the giants. That mankind was really sinful. Mankind was going to war with one another and killing and slaughter before the flood, and every kind of perversion and evil and corruption was rampant on earth, yes, but and were governing the earth. And so the earth was usurped from the offspring of Adam, from the sons of Adam. And
much as it's been usurped in present time. Because those are very similar stories to what we are experiencing now with the different sadistic events that are taking place. And so I would like for you to listen to a few clips here.
Mere a fraction of the 0.005%. So we are basically blind, right?
Scientists have found a way to not only hide objects, but make entire events invisible. Bill, this is really cool. I mean, a lot of us are talking about it. How do you make entire events invisible?
These physicists have come up with a material that would not be just fiber optic. Instead, it would have so-called metamaterial. This would be metamolecules, the next level of molecule. And they would control not only the speed that, not only the light going through the material, they would control the speed of it. Now, we control the speed of light all the time. When you have a pair of eyeglasses or a magnifying glass, you are slowing the light down in the glass. And because the glass, in this case, is curved, the light comes out at different times on the other side of the glass. Well, suppose you could do that without curving the glass and without having an enormous magnifier or whatever you call it in front of your taxi cab. Instead, you'd make the cab out of the very material. And then you would not only control when the direction of the light, but when it came out.
Japan is creating the world's first invisible aircraft carrier. Its design includes a special composite that's used to refract light in such a way that it becomes practically invisible to the naked eye.
The reptilians have created these technologies, including these gigantic tankers. We're talking 2.5-mile-long ships hovering in low Earth orbit, cloaked so you can't see them. What's in them? Mind control technology.
5 separate gases coming out of this reptilian tanker, dropping 5 gases at 300 feet. You're smoking their gas today because they dropped this gas only on technically advancing communities on the planet. They didn't see it because everybody's minds are controlled to not see it.
Reptilians are masters of frequency and resonance. They can alter their density. They can be invisible in the visible spectrum. They have lived here all along, and the deep black elements of the military aerospace community are aware of this and have been for a long time.
When something is operating outside of visible light, say it's a UFO or an entity, when it enters visible light, to the observer, it's come out of nowhere. It hasn't, but it's come into your visual reality out of nowhere, and when it leaves, it's gone out of your visual reality.
There are beings that exist outside of the visible light spectrum. So in my video yesterday, I shared how I have been communicating with extraterrestrial beings, and that the majority of these beings that I communicate with, they are in a frequency, dimension if you will, but don't get caught in that word. They're in a frequency that we cannot see with our eyes.
There were...
Would this perhaps be the reason that they created glasses for you to see in different frequencies of light?
Documents found, like ancient documents, they're known as the Nag Hammadi Library now, are describing a non-human force manipulating humanity from the hidden, which they call archons, which in Greek means rulers. As I was investigating, because if you go back in what we call ancient history, the ancients were doing sacrificial rituals to these gods, right? And they were sacrificing, particularly children.
Hello.
So what do the frickin' gods get out of it then? I'm investigating these rich and famous billionaires of today who are players in this cult. What are these bloody billionaires doing satanic ritual sacrifices to their version of the gods? They're same frickin' entities that the ancients were doing the sacrifices to. These, quote, gods, these entities, are feeding off human energy, but it's a particular type of human energy. Every time we feel emotion, every time we think, we're generating frequencies. And those frequencies, in terms of what the frequencies are, relate to the nature of the emotion and the nature of the thought. And scientists have worked out what these frequencies are for different emotions, right? And
is that like when you go into a room and you kind of feel like, oh, there's a bad energy in here?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, if you go into an old house where there's been a lot of really bad things gone on, see, when the bad things are going on, the people involved in the bad things are giving off that vibe, and unless someone goes into that house and changes the frequency, they sit there vibrating. So you go into it and you think, oh, this is horrible, God, because you're picking the vibe up, right? So these are the energies I'm talking about. So these entities, by their very nature, are very low vibrational in nature, because anyone that wants to impose their will and manipulate and cause suffering and war and death and destruction is in a very low vibrational state. And if they're going to feed off human energy, they can only feed off it if we are delivering it within the band of frequency they can absorb.
That matches
because,
theirs.
Otherwise, if we were in a world of love and joy and happiness and peace, then we'd be giving off frequencies, yes, but much higher, more expanded frequencies, and they wouldn't be able to absorb them, like radio stations in the old analog system,
We would
sharing
starve
the
them
same
out.
space, but not interfering with each other because they're on different wavelengths. So we're living in a world, and again, it's about perceptual control, that is absolutely nothing like the one we appear to be experiencing. You have this demonic hierarchy, and then you have the human hierarchy, which is prime ministers and presidents and whatever, the king in this country. And that hierarchy is for public consumption. This hierarchy is the one that's calling the shots. The royal families are royal and consider themselves special bloodlines, the blue bloods, because they are vehicles for this demonic realm to enter. You look at the coronation of Prince Charles. I mean, it was all symbolism. It was all satanic, esoteric symbolism. It's all symbolism, and it's all in some way interacting with energy to manipulate energy in a certain way. The satanic rituals are all the way they're conducted is to manipulate the energetic field. And what they do is do the same rituals in the same places over and over and over again. And what that does is it thins, because what these rituals are doing, like I said earlier, is they're interacting with these lower astral, quote, gods, demons, entities. And the more they do it in the same place, they thin out the dimensional difference at that point between our world and that world. And I've been described.
So essentially, they're creating an access point for a portal to stay open. And just like a haunted house or a haunted piece of land where residual energy remains that's of a low vibration from terrible things happening there, and a person with a higher vibration can go in and clear that energy out, we too can go close those portals.
Been described to me many times by Satanists how these entities in the major rituals slip through from their dimension into this one and appear in front of the Satanists.
Could that be almost like a vision, like, you know, people have visions while meditating, a lot of people? Could that be on, or do you mean literally they appear physically?
Well, literally they appear, but they can't stay for long because there is a vibrational difference between what they're vibrating on and what this
sort of like a ghost
is vibrating on. But they can come in for a short time and then they leave.
And no, it is not the same thing as meditating and having visions or manifesting through creative abilities and powers, but yet it is the same thing. It's just the opposite of the other. One is light, one is dark. If you're of the light, you can wipe out the dark. Light, but the light wipes out the dark. You see? Now, let's look at some UFOs. This is very weird. Look, just check this out. This is an actual doctor here.
So it's been a while. It's okay, no big deal. We're here to help. All right. So we're getting his feet cleaned up. So you a little belong to. Oh, sorry, very sensitive too, huh? Are we diabetic?
Very weird. Totally has to be a reptilian.
So they all have this ability to make themselves look like real good-looking people.
And you're saying Trump isn't one?
No, he's not. Okay.
Well, that's a relief.
And he knows more about this subject than.
As a psychic medium, I pick up on messages like this of people in power. If you have been following my page for a while, you see on my page I channeled a lot of stuff for people in power and kind of the evil that like exists in Hollywood and then like the political structures. I can very much also confirm that Trump is not a reptilian. and is incredibly aware, and his role in politics will be more beneficial to us than it was in the past. And this is like all political opinions and beliefs aside. I truly am going from like a spiritual, energetic standpoint right now. But people in power, the office, it is full of fucking lizards. I made a video not too long ago about the Met Gala, and it was full of fucking lizards. The reptilians are very real. This isn't like something I read in a conspiracy. Like, this is what my spirit guides channeled to me. Part of my gift as a psychic is to expose leaders in power, and that's what I do. And this man in this video, he knows what the fuck he's talking about.
Yes, he
It's time
does.
to wake up, y'all. There's so many things about this world that you're oblivious to because they're really good at their job in controlling you. And let's not do that anymore. Expose them all. May it all fall and rebuild. Watch now from July a lot of these UFO disclosures that they're going to come out with, and just what they twist in the media. They'll really try to change the story so you're in fear of like that thing in the sky. What you should be in fear of are the people in power, in office, and in Hollywood, and just really wealthy people. Not all, but most. Those are the things you should fear. Not that fucking ET is actually trying to help us.
Right.
Okay, bye.
Because there are good ones that are trying to. Most definitely. Now, this is a cool thing. Translated a Russian book called The Secret Book of Alien Races from 1946 that speaks on reptilians, Galactic Council of 13, and even Christopher Columbus. So that's very cool, and I will include this in the description box below. Find my videos down here. Okay, this one was on
witnesses who had
the Eclipse
reported
Day.
actually encountering the occupants of the UFOs. They actually asserted that in a significant number of these encounters, the occupants of the UFOs that are extraterrestrial beings were actually warning them about two things. One is that you've got to eliminate nuclear weapons from your planet, and the private nuclear industry that's helping to supply these materials. You've got to do this because this could lead to the entire destruction of your planet. And also you have to stop polluting your planet with burning these fossil fuels as a source of your energy. You've got to stop doing that because you're polluting your environment. You can destroy your entire climatic system with this. These are two things that were repeatedly reported by people who had these experiences.
Okay, check this out.
Tracking unidentified objects flying around their stealth ship.
138 knots.
At times, the radar lighting up with 9 objects. It could be similar to those captured on night vision and infrared video, swarming warships for nearly a week in July of 2019, then disappearing without a trace.
That one's pretty much perfectly 000 relative, right? Yeah.
At one point, 2 objects suddenly vanishing from the screen, something experts say can happen with smaller targets. But the man who released the leaked video, Jeremy Corbell, says it might suggest the objects went above or below the radar range.
That's moving above the
Now, this happened outside of CERN. And I think that's totally a portal.
You seen that? You seen that come out of the clouds? Man, what was that? Hold on, Jack. I gotta rewind. Oh.
Okay, that one's maybe a meteor. Let's go to this one. Okay, so this is a UFO descending near an industrial zone in the United States. It doesn't say exactly where. Pretty good footage, in my opinion. And who knew that John Lennon had his own sighting? Check this out.
I saw a UFO and it went down the river, turned right at the United Nations, turned left and then down the river. It wasn't a helicopter, it wasn't a balloon, and it was so near.
And it looked what, sort of round, white, luminescent, and silent?
Silent, and it looked dark, like black or grey in the middle, and had white lights, just looked like light bulbs, you know? Just going off, on, blink, 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 round the bottom, and on top was a red light. Over here, up there, I saw a UFO, and it went down.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Okay. Where's that? Oh my God, I want to show you this clip because, like, we've seen this clip before, but I personally have never seen the full clip. Watch what happens at the end of this. Do you remember that? Now watch, this truck actually stops and the driver gets out and looks underneath of his truck first. And then he's like, what the hell? And this dude that saved the other guy on the cart, he just walks away real quick. Just quickly walks away. And this dude on the cart's like, I gotta sit down a minute, man. I need to think about what just happened because he literally almost died. I mean, that's just crazy. So tell me there's not good people with superpowers in this world. I know it for a fact, but this is evidence. That's proof of it right there. Did you notice his hands were glowing? His or her hands are glowing, and then they stuck them in their pocket. Pretty neat stuff. All right, check this one out. This is really cool. There are actually two different perspectives of this video.
Road, you're gonna see this thing in the sky. We don't know what it is. It'd be cool if we did. If you do, please leave a comment to say exactly what the hell I'm looking at. So if you're in Scottsdale right now, near McDowell and Hayden Road, you're gonna see this thing in the sky. We don't know what it is. It'd be cool if we did. If you do, please leave a comment to say exactly what the hell I'm looking at.
Okay. So there's that perspective, and then there's this perspective.
Yeah, I have no idea.
This is another vantage point. Someone else that's seen it.
Yeah, I have no idea. Wow, look at that, it's moving. It's so weird. You can see the planes going, but the light is, it's kind of like streaking. So weird.
And that's plasma. The reason it looks like it's separating like that is because that's a plasma energy. And I have actually seen this type of craft with the blue lights. And they do, that's like actually a triangle craft that's on its side like that. I saw it up close.
Yeah, I see it. It's so weird.
Are you watching it like in the camera? Yeah, you're just what the fuck, dude?
What in the flying fuck?
What the fuck is
It's
that?
like the perfect place to use that term.
Yeah.
Wait, is there? No, there's not a mountain over there. What the? It's moving down. It's moving down. It's moving down.
Stop shaking my table, baby.
Why is it going down?
Oh shit.
Bro.
Yeah, I'm recording
It's
all
going
of
back
this.
up. What the fuck is that?
Yeah, right? That cannot be like anything. Like, it cannot be like drones or
Hey, Belle.
something.
Go let Freya in. She's on the porch.
Yeah, now it's like separating.
What the fuck is that, dude?
She was right there.
My brain doesn't
That's exactly
back
what
door.
UFOs are, UAPs. Fucking hell. Dude. It's crazy. It's crazy.
What the hell is going?
Isn't that cool? Love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Now, get back out of here. Okay. Now, check this one out. This is really cool, too.
Never seen nothing.
Look at this bright light right here. This is what they're looking at. And it doesn't show in the video, but you'll hear him say it's actually glowing purple, making the sky glow purple. See, this dude's filming it, too.
Yo, I thought I was bugging. When I was standing over there, I'm like, what is that? Why is the sky purple? And it's only here. Look, this one's not that color.
And somebody said they thought he said turquoise instead of purple.
Yo, I've
So I
never
could
seen
be
nothing
hearing it
like
wrong.
that. Yo, I thought I was bugging. When I was standing over there, I'm like, what is that? Why is the sky purple?
Maybe he does say
And
turquoise.
it's only here. Look, this one's not that color.
And that happened actually in New York
Yo, I've
City.
never seen nothing like that.
That happened in New York City the night of the eclipse. Okay. So is that a planet? Is that a planet over there under all that cloud cover? I think it probably is. I think this is probably a real video here. I'm just going to let you watch it play out. I'll share the clip in the description if you want to listen to it. Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and bump it up to here.
Artificial super intelligence. I know what it said. Shut up.
But watch his throat. Watch his throat actually move with his mouth as he speaks.
Well, that's impossible. Think about it, sir. I mean, computer has to interact. Shut up. Yes, sir. Okay, so this artificial super intelligence, is it a computer? I swear, if you say I don't have the capacity to comprehend one more time, I'll drill a 9mm through that mutant skull of yours. Again, is it a computer? And you're saying they're as smart as people? Hey, you just said... Wake up! Wake up! Okay, so I'll play along. How is this superintelligence a threat? How? Nostradamus, what's the first way?
Okay, that's like a mic drop. moment right there, that statement. We seriously need to be paying attention to that. Now, this is a video over Arlington Military Cemetery. Like, what? He's slowly cruising in. What do you think of that? That's pretty wild, right? Oh, now check this one out. I actually have 2 videos of this. One's more clear than the other. Yeah, this is the clear one. Look at that. What is happening there? Is it creating its own portal? I think this was on a security camera outside of a building that caught this. But look at that. Look at that energy going around there. That's incredible. Really great footage. Okay, this was the night of the earthquake in New York. You see him up there? It's really, really big, actually. It's like a mothership size big. I mean, that's taking up a massive amount of space. All right, this is CNN talking about the eclipse, and this lady here, she's a professional astrologist or something that's explaining the planets that are around the sun. But right after you see the little tag for the channel come up in the corner here, you're going to see a UFO zip through this corner on live TV, and then the news feed drops, the live feed.
Material that can actually come off the sun and create space weather for us here on Earth. Things that affect our
Here it comes.
satellites,
Watch.
they can affect
There it
our
goes, right there.
GPS,
See it?
they can affect our power grid, so we really want to understand
Let's back it up. Watch that again.
things that affect our satellites, they can affect our GPS, they can affect our power grid, so we really want to understand those and when the sun is going to do those things.
And conveniently, you know, the news feed drops, the live feed right after that. So this one's cool. This is somebody that just decided to zoom in on the moon. Watch. We can zoom this in even bigger. Maybe. It looks like something literally dropped something off the top. Like that's a big tip and this little tip came out of it. Watch. It just zooms in on the moon. Boom. Just in time to watch the little craft come out of the bigger one. And to be honest, I have to wonder if this isn't why Elon Musk has so many satellites and rockets going up every single day. Maybe he's carrying payloads to the moon and Mars for missions that are already taking place there. This is a clip of an alien in a cornfield. Pretty trippy stuff, right? Okay. That's just a cool GIF. I saved this because this is actually a very good representation of when we get beamed up. The guy did a good job making that GIF. This is a UFO in Australia. It's just one of those, you know, spheres of light or maybe a cube. 2 of them. Sydney, Australia, February 25th this year. They're everywhere, guys. They are everywhere. They're here. And so this is, okay, this one, there's like another big point of light when they pan away from the sun and the eclipse. Way over there, what is that? I mean, that's not one of our planets that belong there. So what is that? And is that why we had so much cloud coverage the day of the eclipse across the United States? Conveniently, all through the path of totality, we had very heavy cloud cover. You really couldn't appreciate the eclipse. Though I think it's some interesting footage right after the eclipse went away, I decided to videotape the sun. And I've captured something flying in front of the sun that is either an angel or a dragon. I'm not sure yet. I'm not done doing analysis on it. And when I am finished with that, I will share it with all of you. Now, I had one more I wanted to show you. I think, yeah, this is, no, that isn't the one. I wanted to show you this clip that's been going around. It's went viral. And I found the original to it. Now, this also shows something up here next to the sun, which could very well be a planet for as large as it is. Just hovering there next to the sun. I believe this was, yeah, this was also during the eclipse. That one's too dark to see very well. This one's pretty interesting because it reminds me of that marine life-looking UFO that I took a picture of a few years back.
믿지도 않으셨죠? 자, 이거 말이죠.
See, it has these
슈퍼
little
슬로우
fin things
모션으로
on the sides of it, just like
이런
that
이때
one I
슝
took pictures
지금
of.
보셨어요? 슝 보셨습니까? 슝 이거 입에서
It went
나는 소리가 아닙니다.
And I don't know what to think of this. This looks like a dude with a jetpack or something. I don't even know. Where is that one? Oh my God, you guys see this. This is really, really cool. This is on one of them door ring cameras. Yeah, Ring doorbell. Check that out. Isn't that amazing? Look. Look at that, would you? That's so cool. And boom, it's just gone out of sight over here. Just creeping along. Just cruising through. Don't mind me. Now check this door ring camera out. Boom, big flash of light as it goes over. Watch it again. Comes up over the hillside. I mean, that's just too cool. Can somebody maybe do some CGI stuff there? Sure, I guess they could. I mean, I don't know how, but that doesn't mean it can't happen. This was also during the eclipse. Pretty cool stuff. Okay, now where's that one I really wanted to show you? I think this, oh, this is it. Watch. Watch.
What is that? Bruh.
Mirror view.
What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? Yo, what the fuck?
Now watch.
Yo.
That goes through there, but what is this over here?
What's that?
What
is that?
Out there, or is that a great big UFO? And what is that?
Look, there's something flying through the air. What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? Yo, what the fuck? Yo.
It looks very similar to what I saw fly across the front of the sun.
What is that?
Almost his wings down to its side. Dragon. This could very well be.
What is that?
Planets or our binary star.
Bruh. Look, there's something.
Okay, I think that about wraps it up for the videos that I'm going to share today. Yeah, we'll get into these another time because this is running pretty long now. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast. And if you did, please hit that thumbs up. And I'll see you again real soon. Take care.